save us. You took all our shame. On the cross it was laid. Now you're taking us higher. We go from glory to glory to glory. We'll never be the same, no, no, never be the same. We go from glory to glory to glory. We forever change, forever change. You call me your friend. You brought me, Lord, brought into your endless kingdom. By the blood I was made, no longer a slave. And now you're taking us higher. We go from glory to glory to glory. Never be the same, never be the same. We go from glory to glory to glory forever. We forever change, forever change until we reach that day. Love conquers everything. We cry and let them singing, holy, holy. And when we see that day, we're standing face to face. We'll shine and let them singing, holy, holy, yeah. You took on the grave, so not even death can shake us. The victor has won, and heaven has come. Now you're taking us higher. Come on, lift your voice and sing, yeah, yeah. Now you're taking us higher. We go from glory to glory to glory. Never be the same, never be the same. We go from glory to glory to glory. We'll forever change, forever change. Drum solo. We go from glory to glory to glory. We go from glory to glory to glory. You take us higher and higher and higher. We'll forever change, forever change. Thank you, Jesus.
Glory to glory. It's good.
Glory to glory. Blessed are those. Tie in somehow.
Exactly.
There it is.
Well, we are continuing our last study. If you were with us 2 weeks ago, we started a study on the Sermon on the Mount. We intended to get through verse 6. We stuck at 3.
On the first one.
Yeah. We started on verse 3 and we stay there. We don't know how much we're going to be able to cover today. But let's try. Right?
There's so much in there, though. You can't just
you can't just skip. Short recap. We talked about blessed, the idea of being blessed. That was the idea that Jesus was painting not just as a state of being, but as an ideal for people.
Yep.
Right? And then we talked about being poor in spirit and how that is a quality that is not a goal for people, even though probably most of us find ourselves there, but it is the starting point. Jesus finds us in that place of spiritual poverty.
And it's not directly attached to your financials.
No.
At all.
No.
Yep.
No. And then for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, which is a huge claim, right? It's this beautiful, enormous arching of the kingdom of heaven, which is the point of Jesus' ministry. What is the first thing that he announced, right? The kingdom of heaven is at hand. That was his ministry. Then that's our ministry. That's as Christians, if you're a follower of Jesus, that's your business, to bring heaven to earth. So it's beautiful how he started the Beatitudes. So let's continue today. Why don't you read for us verse 4, 5, and 6?
Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied.
Blessed are those who mourn. I remember last service, you mentioned that dichotomy between blessed and poor. Remember that?
That's the challenge.
Yeah. and here we see the same thing, because blessed, as we spoke last time, means to be happy, felicity, right?
Yeah.
Joy, deep joy. Blessed are those who mourn. Now, mourning is something that we all experience in life, right?
Yep.
What are some of the things that people can mourn?
Failed dreams, loss of loved ones, financial losses,
loss, right? Separation, death, in many layers. Actual death, but also death to something that might be more abstract, right? And the promise here is in the comfort. They shall be comforted. I think one of the most difficult things about loss is trying to make sense of it all, right? There's a commonality in that. We all know what grief feels like, right?
Yep.
We all know what it is like to go through that valley. And the promise of comfort is huge. Now you got to think about the context that Jesus is speaking to. He's speaking to oppressed people in ways that we don't see today. A people who have been dispossessed, a people who had certainly many of their family members and friends attacked, killed by the powers that be. And Jesus is promising comfort.
There's something that I don't think you could put it into words, but at the edge of your worst failure or at the loss, when you receive that comfort from God, and I remember having conversations with different friends who had experienced loss, and how they said that they experienced a life-changing peace when they surrendered. Up until today, I still have conversations with people who are still stuck at the I lost this and have never been able to sort of flip the page on that. But I also have conversations with those who actually were able to find that peace and to be comforted by God, and how that, instead of putting them at a loss, it almost acts as if they were using that as a springboard to something else.
I think that is a great observation, especially since Jesus is highlighting mourning. He's not highlighting the event. He's highlighting mourning, right? Because in the world you'll have tribulation, right? He could say, blessed are you because you're not going to have to mourn. But that's not what he says. He says when you go through loss, when you go through death, when you go through something that affects you, you're going to mourn. And you should mourn. And when you do mourn, you'll be comforted.
Is there a better promise than
It's
that?
important to mourn in his presence.
People who skip mourning usually end up mourning almost a multiplied version of it later.
You can't skip grief.
You cannot.
No.
You can't. To have that moment and to
Yes.
be able to go through it, it's very, very important. It's crucial, actually.
Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. There's another passage that always puzzles, right? Blessed are the meek. Like, who aspires to be meek?
The word meek is like one of those.
Right? Like, you're a dad. You have daughters. I have daughters. We have all daughters.
Yep.
Right? 5 girls. Do you want them to be meek in this world?
We want them to be ninjas.
Yeah, exactly. Which is very funny because my daughter is obsessed with American Ninja Warrior.
Oh,
we watch
Lord.
it every night.
Well, Alini is sort of like the
She's a
version-
ninja. My wife is a ninja, guys. You don't even know.
Somebody asked us one day, would you rather your daughter be the bully?
Yes, I know where you're going with
What
that.
was the
I was
question?
laughing already.
Would you rather be the bully
Or the bullied.
Or the bullied? And the challenge is that is you don't.
Yeah.
You do, no.
You don't want him to be the bully.
In that case.
But you don't want him to be bullied either.
But if you need to choose.
I think we're going to have to cut here. We're not condoning violence. I think because words evolve, right? There's an interpretation of meekness that we don't aspire to. But I was listening to a commentary on this verse. And the commentator was talking about the word meek in the original and the picture, the visualization of Jesus' hearers. And here's the visualization. It would be something like, blessed are those who have a weapon and know how to use it, but keep it in their sheath. That's a different picture.
Totally different.
Right?
That's a totally different meekness.
Yeah. I want that kind of meekness.
Yeah.
Right? Blessed are those who can defend themselves and can even inflict their strength upon others, but they don't. Sometimes we hear, blessed are the weak.
Yep.
Instead of the meek. And the bridge there is blessed are the meek, meaning you're strong.
Yep.
But you're measured.
That's it.
Right? You're strong, but you're not overpowering.
Yep.
You're strong, but you are not superimposing yourself on others. You're not insecure to the point that you need everyone's attention.
Yep.
Right? Blessed are the meek.
Even if you were to simplify that, and let's say you put that on a job, if you had a job, there were moments in job situations where by being meek, it pushed me further than if I had sort of tried to overcome an overpower situation. It almost propels you. It gives you a longer shelf life because you were able to endure and sort of show constraint.
Yeah.
To sort of push you further.
And sometimes even suffer.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah. Take the blunt of the hit in order to further.
I think Jesus really painted such a beautiful picture that throughout, blessed are the poor, blessed are those who mourn, blessed are the meek. And what we will look at today is almost as being a weakness, is highlighting as a strength. And all of those, in order for you to be blessed and to achieve this blessed state, you have to sort of be opposite to what we were taught in our everyday lives. So I just think that it's such an interesting little contrast in terms of how he sort of placed it.
Yes.
Yep.
To choose humility and measured strength and self-control.
To choose, and that's very important. Yep.
Yeah. Next verse. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. I know we're running out of time, but let's try to cover this. This is so timely. And it seems like the world comes head to head with this passage from time to time, because there's always some kind of call for righteousness in the world. And we don't seem to be able, as societies, to get it exactly right.
Yep.
Every major society or civilization in the world has had an issue with righteousness. And we're no different. I mean, think about the protests last month that still linger, right? What is the thirst of the people? Righteousness. Few of them want to just a revolution, right? But most of them, the majority of them, want righteousness. You and I have talked a lot about this, the sentiment and the motivation behind.
The call is always for equality, never for one to be above the other. And I think sometimes it gets. There's people
with political interests that usurp the heart of good law-abiding citizens
It
who
gets
want to
hijacked.
see equality. Yeah.
And I think the moment that you begin to sort of see it for what it is, not necessarily for what they're painting a picture for. I think I had a conversation with someone else about it in terms of different things that are sort of popping out on social media and how suddenly we're being sort of made to believe different things. The sort and the meaning is still to be the same, that we are sort of still looking and searching for righteousness,
Yes,
and equality above all. So, and I think even when you sort of look back, and I know we're running close in time, is that sort of understanding that this is not a new fight.
no,
And the moment I remember doing research, looking back as far as the 1900s, the same calls that are happening now happened then. And how, again, the call for righteousness continue to sort of come up and over again. And we're looking at it just in the wrong places.
yeah. Jesus's audience hungered for righteousness.
Yep.
Now, there is a relationship between our desire for righteousness and this fleshly desire for power that I think clashes. Wouldn't you think?
100%. And I don't think they walk hand in hand.
No.
And it's sort of like being meek and yet being powerful, right? There's something that, there's a power that comes with meekness, but there's something about searching for righteousness that doesn't necessarily equate to having power.
Yeah. Usually people who hunger for power are not asking for equality or righteousness.
Yep. That's it.
They are devoted to their own devices and their own
Agenda,
ambitions.
right?
Yeah. And now what Jesus is talking about, those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, it's important to make that distinction, because this is not a selfish thirst and hunger. Let's think about this, right? The picture here is hunger and thirst. You get hungry.
Every other.
Thirsty. You want some tea? It's waiting for you. We get hungry and thirsty every day. They will be satisfied. But this is not a hunger and a thirst that is selfish. If I want righteousness, I want everybody to be treated right. I want everybody to do right.
Yep.
I want everybody to act right.
Yep.
I want everybody to love right. I want everybody to behave right.
Righteousness brings about equality more than anything.
Yes, I heard somebody ask a question, and this might be a good question for us to end with. What would our world look like if everyone did what is right?
It's hard to picture.
Think about the potential and the possibilities.
Yep.
What would life look like if everybody did what was right? Would there be poverty? Would there be hunger? If everybody did what is right, would the coronavirus continue?
Don't even get started with that one, right?
Would racism continue?
Yep.
We all hunger and thirst for righteousness. And the promise is that if we continue to hunger and thirst, pursue it, aim at it, we will be satisfied.
Blessed are those, yeah.
And righteousness comes from the righteous one,
Satisfaction.
the Christ. We love you guys so much. I think we've given enough for you to think about. I hope this has blessed you, and I highly encourage you to join a Connect group right now. Our hosts are populating the Connect group right here on the chat box. Please join a Connect group, and that's where you're going to discuss, meet people, and pray for one another. So we love you so much. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks. God bless you.